Hello and welcome to She Can Jam Chats again. We are back. We're back. We're back. But this time it's slightly different. We are I am we. I love saying we though because it's a collective. Like there's a few of us. Are speaking to. I am speaking to some of the artists who have been so kind throughout this lockdown, and they have sent us in some of their new music. So because of that, we had loads of new music that was sent in over the whole lockdown period, and we decided to give it a name and call it Release Radar. We had so many amazing pieces of music, but some stood out, and some artists we really wanted to give a bit of a platform to. And one of them I'm playing in the background, and I cannot stop playing this tune. It's so beautiful. Her name is Alecia Renece. I keep on getting that wrong. Alecia Renece, beautiful name. She is from Maryland in the States. She is a soul singer and songwriter, but also calls herself a multi-passionate creative, which basically means she does lots of different things, and she's not held under one banner, I guess, which is for a lot of us creatives. We like to try different things, and that's what keeps our creative juices flowing. And she's 31 years old and she is married. So those are some of her important facts. So I'm going to, what do they say when they do interviews? Without further ado, I will introduce. This is our first time doing it on Zoom, so it's all a bit weird. It's all a bit sort of like sketchy, but you know, we can do sketchy. Alecia, I'm playing her song in the background. Hey girl,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm playing your song in the background.
Oh,
Sing la la la. I'm gonna turn it off because I will find that I do find that it's such a chilled out song.
oh,
It's
yay.
really good for sort of like I don't even think I realised it, but it's really good for sort of premeditation, like just bringing you right
Yeah.
down and just get into
I'm
that nice
glad.
zone. Do you know
Yeah.
that I really am enjoying being in that zone at the
Yeah.
moment. So thank you very much for helping me
Thank
to get in
you.
that flow. So do you know what? Let's just get right into it. Tell me a bit
Sure.
about you. Let the people know who you are, a bit about your music and your vibe. Obviously, we know you're a soul singer, but tell us a bit more about that.
Sure. So, yeah, my name is Alecia Renece. As mentioned, I am from the DMV area, Prince George's County specifically, and that's important because I really think that helped in my upbringing. So, Prince George's County is a very diverse Black community,
Hmm.
and so I was able to see Black people being musicians and professionals and woodworkers and all these different kinds of things. And I think having the space to really be myself really allowed like opportunity for me to not have to be a monolith, but to be experimental in all things. And so much like my music, it's pretty much like an experiment.
Hmm.
So I definitely consider my music more soul and singer songwriter y, but it's very like vocal based, like very vocal heavy. And I really have to say that my real like influence comes from my grandmother. So she again was a singer in her church, and she would sing tenor, and we would sing these hymns. It was this very old church, and there was maybe a pianist, maybe, but most of it was vocals. Like most people were just singing along, like all these Black folk just getting together singing these hymns. And my grandmother would be keeping tempo and keeping the melody, but also like the bass note kind of.
Uh-huh.
And I was just infatuated with that, like
Holding it together.
yeah, like really, like she was holding it all together.
Mm.
And I was taken by her, like just watching her sing, and I could see that brought her so much joy and so much life.
Cool.
And so going to these churches and watching her sing in these small, like little house churches in Philadelphia, really just lit my fire for music and my passion for music. So I would definitely say like she was a huge influence in my music. Yeah.
And was she a musician too, or was she just like your parents, as in the
She
choir?
was just she was just a singer. Like she would just sing in church, Yeah.
And so where was the turn? What actually got you into music from it being something that inspired you and
Yeah.
through your parents and grandparents and till it becoming an actual job, really.
Yeah. So it's embarrassing. But when I was in elementary school, I would put together like these girl groups. So Destiny's Child was like my thing. Like I was obsessed. And so in grade school, I'd be like, hey, friends, come together. I would write music. My dad had like this old Casio piano and it came with like songs that you're supposed to learn how to play. I would take the lyrics to the songs and just make my own melodies, make my own songs out of those lyrics. And
Amazing.
so, yeah. So, I mean, it was fun. I wouldn't tell my parents what I was doing because I was embarrassed. And I went to the schoolyard and I would ask my friends, "Hey, let's all sing together. Let's all," because I want to be in a girl group. I want to be in a band. I want to sing. And of course, my friends were like, "This is cute, but not really interested like that."
Yeah. We want to
And
go and skip. Like,
yes,
telling us what to do.
yeah, like like I want to go play. You would just want to sit here and
Exactly.
sing songs.
Like,
Yeah, I was a little weirdo, and that's okay.
like,
But
let's learn these lyrics. Let's
yes.
and they're like, no, I don't.
Right, exactly. And that fire for that music, it never went away, but I felt like I didn't think that I could be a professional singer. Like unless I looked like Beyonce or, Destiny's Child at the time, so Kelly and Michelle. I couldn't be a serious singer.
Right,
And so I kind of gave that up for a while, literally from maybe high school until maybe 6, 7 years ago. I
right.
was really just not serious about becoming a singer, even though I desperately wanted to sing. Like I just wanted to sing so bad. I sang in the choir in high school, so I still found little outs like to use my gift, but at the same time, I was like, this can't be serious.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I met my husband. We were just friends at the time, and he was like, "No, like you have talent. Like you can sing."
Oh, love that.
Yeah,
Love
yeah. And he helped me produce like some music that I had in my head because again I couldn't play instruments. I played the piano by ear to get the ideas down,
it.
but he helped me like produce the song, and so I'm like, oh, this could literally be like a viable option. Like
Wow. So you're
yeah,
like a mini genius. I often say that we are served in so many different. What jobs were you doing then in between
oof,
while you were not realizing
yeah.
how amazing you were?
Oh, girl. So I literally I served at Applebee's, Lucky Strike, which is like this bowling alley and nightclub kind of
Yeah.
fusion. Lucky Strike, Applebee's, Target, where else? IHOP. I worked in a lot of like service positions, so whether it's serving food, it's or retail, just
And
like
all
those
the
odd
time you
jobs.
had this talent you didn't even realize because you just felt that you didn't look good enough.
No, no. I was like, I have to have a degree in this. I have to, be connected, like well connected to other people. And I didn't have any of that. I didn't have any of those things that other people had access to. And so I just figured I'm not like these people. I can't play instruments. I can't, so I'm not good enough to do it. And yeah.
And tell me about this amazing husband that you have. Is he a musician or was he just someone who believes in you or
So he wouldn't call himself a musician. I would. That's he produces music. So he would work on like little projects, not little, I don't even say little, but he would work on projects when he was in college with his friends. And they would be fun for him. And so he would help other people create their own albums, their own music, but not really call him, oh yeah, I'm a producer. Like he would never like label himself that. And so I'm like, no, you are a producer. This is what you do. Um, and when we were just hanging out and recording music for his project, he asked me if I had any music, and I was like, "Well, yeah, but being embarrassed and bashful, it's like, yeah, but it's not real. It's not what this is." And he was like, "Just bring it over one day." So literally one day, I came over with this idea, the song that I had been working on for like years, and I just didn't know how easy it is to be able to get your own home recording studio and record your music in the house. I thought that you had to like save money to go to a studio, hire musicians, that whole thing. And he opened up this world and showed me, no, like I can help you do this. Like I know how to mix and master music. I know how to, do beats because I can't even beats is a whole a whole different thing.
of course, if it's
Um,
not your thing or
no.
you don't know about it.
Yeah.
I mean, the thought of even making a drum loop sometimes,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yes, it's
but
overwhelming.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, that I understand you almost want to stay in your lane and you want to
Yes.
get the producers to do that and you sing and
Yeah.
so
Like if I could just sing.
yeah. So at this point, you've brought your music to him.
Yeah. So I bring the music to him and I put the ideas that I have down, like the chords on the piano that he had. And so he's like, okay, cool. So he took the chords and he added like all this extra stuff, all these extra layers, a beat. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is like mind blowing for me because I had heard the song in my head so long. I had played the song on the piano, and to hear it like on tape was like, okay, so this is possible. And literally, even with that whole process, the ability to start off messy, the ability to start off like imperfectly allowed me to figure out what kind of music I like making in the first place, right? So in the beginning, it was like, it's not going to be super vocal heavy. I want it to be like instrument heavy. But later on, he actually convinced me to create my first a cappella project. And so, yeah. And that just kind of opened the door for everything. So I was actually, I suffer with depression. And I was just going through a bout of depression. And I just needed to sing. Okay, I just needed to sing a song. And one of the songs that came to mind was my grandmother's, the song that she used to sing in her church. God's in his son. They call him Jesus. Life is worth it. Just because he lives. Because he lives. The hymn that they used to sing in the church. And I sang that song from what I remembered her singing. She's no longer with us, my grandmother. And I just remembered her singing that song. And I just recorded that song a cappella. I added the harmonies and the underlines that she used to sing. And that just brought me so much joy to sing it. Because singing can be so healing. Like creating music can be so healing. Even when you don't know, like I was like, oh, I'm not going to share this music. It was just kind of like, oh, this is just what I want to do for fun. And my husband listened to it and he said, you should share this. You should share this with other people. And I'm like, okay. So I put it out there. People resonated with that song, with the hymn. And he was like, you should create a whole project of songs where you just sing a cappella and it's just you and your voice. And so from that project came that song, Because He Lives, but also Bob Marley's Is This Love, Bill Withers' Lovely Day, Emily King's music, Donny Hathaway, just a few of my favorite songs. And so that kind of launched everything that I'm doing now. So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing this.
I think he's amazing, and I need you to pass that message on.
I will.
I think I'm so glad that he said the right things that got you living in your truth, and the good thing, we all have to work 9 to 5s that we don't want to do and stuff like that, but there's a difference between doing those jobs and knowing who we are and what we are capable of, and never knowing and always working a job because we just don't think we're good enough. So I'm so glad that he gave you that lease. And what would you say would be your biggest influences now? Because especially as a transitioning artist from doing a 9 to 5, well 9 to 5, whatever hours you were doing, to now being do you work now as a full-time musician? Or
I do. So now I'm a full-time artist. So
So you, with that, we discussed that, the
being multi-passionate,
multi-passionate creative. I love it.
Yeah.
I get it. It just sounds so classy.
Oh, I'm glad. I didn't come up with the term, but it's just this idea that a lot of people have been told, like, you have to choose one thing in life, right? So it's like, you can only do one thing and that's it. And I've never been that kind of person. Like,
it's so weird. I'm a human. There's stuff going on all the time.
Absolutely. And I feel like on some level, we all are multi-passionate. Like, we all have multiple things we're interested in. It's not, special, but like, I'm trying to give
Who only does one thing? Like, seriously.
Exactly.
Even if you're into one thing, you'll have a hobby.
Yep.
Or
exactly.
Like, it's just, obviously we're all different. And if you are into one thing, that's great. But it's not weird if you're into loads of stuff.
Exactly.
And with like a really complex brain.
Yeah. And I think people just like putting people in boxes. Like, it's like, oh, this is what you do. This is easy for me to kind of comprehend. So even when people ask me, oh, what do you do? I'm like, I'm multi-passionate. I do, a few things. But I definitely
do. You've told me what else you do. But so what else do you do apart from, you sing, you obviously write?
I'm a photographer. So that's kind of what I went into leaving my job full time. I was like, okay, I'm going to focus on photography. And, photography is fun, but it's also very draining and very harsh on the body. Like, it wears on your body. I'm always shooting weddings that would be like 8 hours long, and you would sit in the car and realize you haven't really relaxed all day long. And so that was kind of laborious. And I was just like, not really interested. So I'm between that and writing. I've written books. I have, and they're not like #1 bestsellers, but they're out there. And yeah, and music. Those are my three main things. But I'm also like a serial hobbyist. So I try to pick up things. So I draw sometimes, make vector art. Yeah, that's what I do.
Amazing. You're not making
Yeah,
it up. So yeah, sorry, I've
I know, tangent.
digressed a bit.
Sorry,
Yeah, that's just how I talk. We're
it's
talking
all
about your
good.
biggest influences. What
Yes.
would you say, or who would you say are
Hmm.
your?
Yeah. So I definitely, again, as I said before, my family for sure. Again, my aunt sing, my grandmother sings, my mother sings, my father sings. But also Motown. Motown is a huge has had a huge influence on my stuff musically, and also just when you listen to some Motown tracks a cappella, the vocals, like they don't get enough shine. Like
Mm,
they are killing it. Also, the band doesn't get enough shine. That's why they had a whole documentary for them recently.
mm,
I'm kind of like a Motown geek, but the vocalists were amazing, and the fact that they had to do these dynamic things with their voices in one take, like there's no.
that's the thing.
That's
That is the
crazy.
thing. Now I've left. Well, I've stopped singing for a while,
Okay.
and I will be coming back to it. But it's that one take thing, and you're like, that
Yeah.
was banging. That was full of soul. That was full of everything
Yes.
that was
Yes.
needed, and that's what they done. It's not. That's
Exactly.
not been auto tuned. That's not
Yeah.
been anything else. That was what they done.
Yep.
Like that level
Yeah.
of determination and professionalism,
Yes.
while
Yes.
still having so much soul, and it's not
Hmm.
like a robot.
Right.
Credit where it's due.
Ugh, absolutely. I admire them so much, and I really feel like those are the shoulders we stand on. Like
Mhm.
even if it wasn't at Motown, it was at what Chess Records, wherever else Black music was being made. Just looking at these documentaries and these movies, like I'm just like, oh my gosh, like they inspire the drive, like to be not perfect, but to be committed to your music. And these people were very committed to their music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it means
So.
a lot. It's for, well, obviously for every person it's so different,
Hmm.
but for, especially at that time, you
Yes.
weren't just saving yourself, you were saving your family. Do you know what I mean? You were
Yes.
saving a whole generation out of
Absolutely.
like some really bad situations. So,
Absolutely.
or even if they were saving themselves, and like I said, I'm not saying this doesn't happen nowadays, but
Mhm.
it's you're getting yourself out of a situation that you need to leave. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That
A lot of those artists did come from southern states, and they were fleeing, and of
exactly
course
that.
trying to get a job, in the industrial realm, but also music.
Yeah,
And I mean, and today, like my influences are Leanne LaHavas, Emily King.
yeah.
Those they're very vocal heavy too, so that kind of influences me and encourages me too.
Very
So
good vocally heavy. Do you know what I mean?
yes, yes.
They're very good, very soulful. I
Mhm.
love Leanne Havas.
Yes.
Big fan of hers. But
Yes.
going back to your song, "Sing La La
Mhm.
La,"
Yes.
what was the inspiration behind that?
So I actually got that song in a dream.
What?
So literally,
You got said again? You had it in a dream.
yes.
Oh, when you remembered it, I always try and remember dreams. I don't
It's
remember my
I
dreams.
know. So literally, so I was asleep. I was in this dream. It was dark. I was in this tree, and I was just singing a song with Childish Gambino, like singing a song. And this was the song that we were singing together. And so he was taking an octave lower than me, and I was singing an octave higher than him. And this is the song that we were singing together. It would be a dream if I could sing this with him, by the way,
Okay,
but like literally a dream
I'm
come true.
so gonna make it happen.
Yes. And
I
I
just
woke
pop up
up.
in the middle and just go, "Can I?" And then I'll put it
Yes.
close.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I woke up and I immediately grabbed my phone because I know how fast dreams can kind of leave you
Yeah.
and songs can leave you. And I went in the bathroom, I recorded it. And then I woke up the next day and I recorded the song. And that's how that song came. It's very simple.
Have
It's
you
not.
sent that song to him?
Say it again.
Have you sent the song to him?
I have not.
Send
You know what? I should. Why not? The worst he could
not.
do is not look at it.
Exact. Can you send it to him, please?
Absolutely.
Because I think that's really amazing that you saw
Yeah.
him in the dream, and
Yeah.
especially as we're talking about being multi-purpose creatives, and
Mhm.
you're you are one, and he most definitely is one
For
that I
sure.
admire very highly. And he was
Yeah.
part of the inspiration for writing the song. It would only be right, wouldn't
Yes.
it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ah,
Can we make a deal that you're going to do that?
Yes, yes. As soon as I get off here, I will do that for
So
sure.
please do.
Yes.
So you also have a company called Black Girl Creative Co.
Yeah. Yes.
Tell me about that. That's really
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah. So Black Girl Creative started off as just like a podcast. Because I actually had three podcasts, but I realized that I was fractioning myself off into three different things. And I just kind of wanted to be all of myself in one place.
Yeah.
And so, as talking about multi-passionate creatives, saying like, okay, Black girl creative, like that's exactly what I am. And this is exactly who I talk to. So no matter what podcast I was doing, I was saying the same thing, just applied to different kind of modes and methods. And so the message behind all the things that I was talking about was the same, is that you matter. Like you as a Black woman, you matter. Number one, your art matters. What you have to say matters, even though in this world, and specifically, I mean, in the Western world, we're told that we don't matter, or that we're kind of like a monolith, or and I get very passionate. So, or we're told that, we're only as good as how sexy we are, like, or how sellable we are, and so it's really frustrating because I know a lot of people who are older than 30 who are like, no, I am creative, I just don't know, I just don't think that I'm worth it, my creativity is worth sharing. And so what I really realize is that I'm creating not just for myself, but for my mom, for my grandmother, for the people who came before me who couldn't create for themselves. Everything they created was taken from them, stolen from them, sold. And it would be a shame for me to sit on the gifts that come from them, right? Like, again, learning singing from my grandmother, from my mother, and to not be bold with it in a way that they could not be bold with it back then. And so I think even though it is about creativity, it's also about like ancestral honor and like marrying those things together.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like literally like the country I live in, I'm walking down the street and my people built this country, like literally built this country with their hands.
You'll feel ashamed to shine.
Like, yes. It's like, what?
But yet
how?
You'll still use your gifts and
yes. Yes.
And exactly like you said, you just have to go forward boldly.
Yes.
Just, I'm so with you, and I'm like 100% on your page, just simply because I think it, even as a creative myself, I often think of my grandma, God rest her soul, who I never met, and I often think, for everything she went through for her kids, and would she be proud of what? Do you know what I mean? Because I would hate to think that she went through all of that struggle for nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, sorry.
Yes.
Like, I'm not going through that for nothing. And, I'm going to try my best to live in my truth and be, and feel free. Do you know what I mean? Because that's part of the freedom of being creative and just going, I'm getting this out of my system. Do you know what I mean? You don't want that tight feeling of I'm feeling ashamed of who I am, yet you're seeing everyone else who looks slightly different to you doing what you potentially have created, or stuff that's come from your people.
Yes.
Yeah. Go girl.
Thanks.
Put it, praise it into a small term. So from that, so you had the three podcasts, you've gone, did you sort of merge that all into one then?
Yeah, for the most part, Black girls make music. I still want to be a thing. Like, I still want to help Black women make music, and also put Black people on who are making music. Again, because I feel like in the DIY musician world, like the indie world is very white. It's a very white space. And especially if you don't fit like the narrative, like if you're not a rapper, or if you're not rapping about this, or if you're not singing about this, or if you're not presenting in this way, you don't really get a lot of shine. And so I want to help Black women make their music, but also be themselves in their music. Like, you don't have to be anybody else but yourself. You're enough. You're good enough. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah. I also have a community of Black women that come together digitally, virtually. And every month we have a meetup. We talk about something specific. So this month we're talking about how to find your thing, and really using like your gifts and your interests to really hammer down, and your passions to hammer down like a personal project or a new venture. Or, a lot of people feel like, I don't know what my thing is. And the fact is we have multiple like things. And so just start with one, you know?
You
So
can
yeah.
use it and get it. I mean, I'm a new mum, a year and a half,
Yay.
and
Congrats.
thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
I'm a creative, but I had to focus on my daughter, and now I'm working out how do I get it back,
Yeah.
ensuring I'm still focusing on her, but making sure I'm giving myself enough so I can feed
Yeah.
her spiritually and
Yes.
and nurture her, and I'm not being selfish trying to find my own thing. And it takes a while, and I
Yeah.
don't feel I'm fully there,
Yeah.
but it comes and goes in waves, and it's like a nurturing a baby,
Yeah.
and just allowing yourself. I've loved this lockdown and not having to sing. I've
Same.
absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But I've gotten to a point where I'm like, right, I need to sing now. I
Yes.
need, exactly like you're saying, because this is my gift and I have to get this out of my system and sing a song. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
um,
And I agree that creativity is like that. It comes in waves and it goes in cycles. Like
mhm,
it comes in seasons. Like just when you're planting a garden, you don't, in the wintertime, you're not going to start planting because it's not the right, temperature. It's not the right time to start doing it. And just like looking in spring for harvest, it's not going to happen. We really just have to go with the seasons of our lives, and that's
exactly.
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this because I've started an academy, the Music Global Academy, which will start in the summer, which will be
Yay.
online.
Okay.
And the same as you, the idea is to just allow, especially over this time, a lot of people have struggled with their mental health,
Yes.
and music is helpful, and
Hmm.
it's something that's obviously totally understand and respect the climate, but it's hard
Hmm.
because the creatives, for sure, we've felt that we've been put on the back burner on,
Yes.
it's been very much go and find another job, go and, do
Yeah.
any other thing, which if you're not a creative, you tend to just think, oh, they'll find another job. I mean, even with my mum, for example, who isn't a
Yeah.
creative, who believes in what I do,
Hmm.
she just doesn't think I work. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't know how
Yeah.
she thinks I pay my bills, but she just doesn't, it just, even though she put me through this creative
Yes.
process. Um,
Yeah. And even, sorry, just to mental health, like I forgot to mention, La La La, the song is actually about depression. Like the song is when
yeah.
you're like, when it's too heavy to get out of bed, like just sing. When you can't do anything else, like just sing. And I feel like for me as a creative, again, like I said, singing is healing. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm putting together a project, but literally if I'm getting in the shower and I'm singing a song, music has a way of like healing your wounds, like putting salve on your wounds. Like it's not gonna fix it, right? But at the same time, it gives voice to that pain. And
Mhm.
so that song La La La, like the words are really about like me in a depressive state. Like because I was really depressed when that song came to me in that dream. Like I was depressed. And I really feel like it was God telling me, like, yo, just sing. Like
It
do what you can, as in do what you can today. Again, if all you did was get out of bed, wonderful. If all you
is.
did was not kill yourself, wonderful. Like
Mhm,
that's
mhm.
it's just that simple. So
Yeah,
yeah.
sometimes you just need to be still
Yeah.
and just do that one thing, but
Yes.
not move too much, and that
Yeah.
is a lot. If you know,
In the future, I want to have like showcases to put Black girl creatives on. So
amazing.
whether people are poets or if they're instrumentalists or even like actors, maybe they can recite some sort of prose or something like that.
That
I want
would
to
be
be able.
so amazing. And is this
Yes.
specifically just for Black creatives, or is this?
Yeah, so yes. I want to say yes. I've thought about opening it up to everybody, but I really feel like my message, even though everybody's welcome, you're welcome to
Uh-huh.
come and
Yeah,
support.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I really feel like it's imperative for me to support my people. Like that's just, I feel like that's the mission that I'm on right now.
Yeah.
I feel like there are a lot of opportunities for people of color, things like that. Like, and that's totally fine. But I feel like specifically the Black plight, I feel like especially in Western world, is very specific and very even this whole that is in our mind about us like being worthy, like literally we were told that our worth is in our productivity. Like you're killed if you don't produce enough stuff. And this mentality we have taken and carried with us even to today, like hustle culture and grind culture. I'm very serious about saying that's not for Black people, because we've literally hustled and grinded our entire lives and we're still where we are, and this is not healthy. And our ancestors literally dropped dead
Yeah.
hustling.
Yeah. What would you? I mean, I'm for you. I'm with
Yeah.
you, and I think I used to say that. Yeah, I'm a hustler. I'm a grinder. And
Same.
what I've realised is that I actually quite like not doing a lot of hours but getting big results. Like,
Yes.
and that's okay. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I get more out of that if I plan my life better rather than I've worked every single hour, even though I'm a
Yes.
bit of a workaholic and I do like working long hours.
Same.
But I know that if I do 4 hours worth of work and I spend the rest of the day
Mhm.
out, I've done
Mhm.
what I needed to do and I feel okay. I don't feel bad for
Yeah.
not killing myself working. But what would
Absolutely.
you suggest, because it's a hard concept to grasp.
Mhm.
And like I said, I can do that now because I've put years of
Exactly.
graft in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what would you suggest to anyone who goes, well, I want to hustle, I want to graft?
Yeah.
What would you say?
I would say in the beginning, it might be more work, right? To get started. Like when you think about a rocket launching off the ground, it takes a lot of work to get that rocket into the air or into the atmosphere or out of the atmosphere. However, long term, hustling is not going to sustain you. Like it's not going to work. It's going to kill you. I would rather live a long, healthy, full life than a short, busy one. And so
Yeah.
if you're making room for everything, then that means you're not really making room for the things that you really consider valuable and the things that you cherish. And so again, if you consider your health, your wellness, if you're not well, you're not going to be able to do anything at all. So would you rather your body, tell you in the long run, hey, you weren't resting, so now I have to make you rest. Now you're going to be sick, and I have to force you to sit down and be still, to I guess get back on a healthy plane. Or would you rather take care of your body, nourish it, take care of your mind? And I would also say to see yourself, like tie yourself down to things that aren't attached to your productivity. So whether that be friends, family, find something else that your worth is not tied to. Because in this world, again, the world will tell you your worth is in what you make. Like your worth is in, oh, I have this many, followers, this many subscribers. Like, what are you doing? I'm team no sleep. It's like, no, like your worth is, once you find out that your worth is not in those things, you'll be less attached to them because they don't, at the end of the day, they don't really matter. They don't, like, it doesn't matter,
I learned
you
that.
know?
I learned that in a harsh
Yeah.
way. But yeah, I did a tour, and I was so excited about this tour coming up. It was one of the biggest things that I was going to be doing at the time.
Mhm.
That was touring the States,
Okay.
and a couple of days before we were meant to get on the plane, the tour got cancelled,
Oh man.
and I was like, "Oh my god, who am I then? If the
Yeah.
tour isn't happening, then who am I all this summer? Because that means I'm a nobody." And it was like,
Yeah.
can't
That's
you were
dangerous.
never the
Yep.
person. That was just a job. That's not who you
Exactly.
are.
Exactly.
So that is a very, my earrings going again. That's a really great and important message.
Yeah.
And I'm going to close
Okay.
our interview because this has been a lot of
Yay.
fun. I've learned loads and loads about you.
Oh.
And just so we can be sure where we can find you. So if the Black Girl Creative, if we Google that, we can find
Mhm.
your podcast.
Oh yes, it should come up. Yeah, Black Girl Creative. Yeah, and you can find me everywhere at Alecia Renece. Eh,
Alecia Renece,
Yeah.
and we will find you on Spotify. I will carry on
Yeah.
listening to you
Thank
whilst I'm
you.
around my flat and just premeditate. Thank you so, so much. And what are you going to
Thank
do?
you.
What you're going to send your song?
Yes, to Childish Gambino.
And
Yes.
if anything happens and you don't involve me in that link up, I'm coming to take you because the lockdown's nearly finished. So
I'll be sure to involve you for
even
sure.
if it's just an email or a picture, to just
Yes.
get him to just say that he loves me, please, please, and
Yes.
I'll just play it now and
Absolutely.
again.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean that he has to leave his wife. It just means that he loves me, and I'm all right with that.
Yes.
I'm really
That
excited
sounds
about that.
good.
It's been such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much, you
Same.
angel.
Aw.
Thank you so, so much. And I think we're going to play out with your song, Sing La La.
Yay.
Sending you lots of love, darling. You take
Same to
care.
you. You too.